There is a moment that almost every person who has ever tried to change something about themselves knows intimately. You decide you are going to wake up earlier, or exercise more consistently, or stop checking your phone in the first hour of the day. You are serious this time. You feel the conviction of it. You go to sleep the night before with genuine intention. And then at the moment the alarm sounds, or the moment the craving arrives, or the moment the phone is in your hand before you have consciously chosen to pick it up, the intention is simply gone. Not overridden by a stronger desire, not defeated in an argument, just absent, as if it were never there. This experience is so common that most people have concluded something about themselves from it that they lack willpower. That discipline is a character trait they were not issued. That the gap between who they intend to be and who they actually are is a permanent feature of their psychology. There is a Japanese concept that challenges this conclusion at its root. The concept is not about trying harder. It is about trying differently. And it is built on a recognition that the ancient teachers of Japan had, without the benefit of modern neuroscience, that behavioral science has spent the last 40 years independently. Arriving at that intention and environment are not equal forces, and that relying on intention alone is a strategy designed to fail. The concept is kaizen, but not the version of kaizen that appears in business books. The word is widely known in management literature as a philosophy of continuous incremental improvement. Small changes consistently applied, compounding over time. Toyota used it. Silicon Valley borrowed it. Productivity writers have turned it into a framework. But the root of kaizen, the philosophical commitment that underlies the practice, is something more precise and more counterintuitive than the summaries suggest. Kaizen comes from two characters, kai, meaning change, and zen, meaning good or better. Change for the better. But the classical application of kaizen in Japanese practice was never about motivation or willpower. It was about the design of conditions. The Japanese insight formalized in manufacturing, but present much earlier in the cultural practice of ritual, ceremony, and the organization of space, was that behavior follows environment more reliably than it follows intention, that the person who designs the conditions of their life well does not need to win the argument with themselves each morning. The behavior occurs because the conditions make it the natural path of least resistance. The behavioral science behind this is now extensive. B.J. Fogg at Stanford spent decades studying why behavior change fails, and developed a model that maps almost exactly onto the classical kaizen insight. That behavior is the intersection of motivation, ability, and prompt. Motivation is the most unreliable of the three. It fluctuates with sleep, stress, blood sugar, and 100 other variables that have nothing to do with values or intentions. Building a system that depends on motivation being present is building on sand. What is reliable is the design of ability, making the desired behavior easy, and the design of prompts making the desired behavior obvious. The person who puts the running shoes next to the bed is not relying on motivation in the morning. They are relying on the fact that the shoes are there, that putting them on requires no decision, that the decision was made the night before, at a moment when motivation was easier to access. This is kaizen applied to behavior, not the grand redesign of the self, but the patient, incremental redesign of the conditions in which the self operates. James Clear, in the language of modern habit research, calls this environment design, arranging your physical and digital environment so that good behaviors require less friction and poor behaviors require more. The principle is identical to what Toyota engineers discovered in manufacturing, that the system produces the behavior, and improving the system is more reliable than improving the effort applied to the existing system. What Clear adds and what the kaizen tradition implies is a further insight about identity. When you reduce friction around a behavior and repeat it consistently, you stop thinking of the behavior as something you do and start thinking of it as something you are. The person who removes the obstacles to a morning walk does not need to motivate themselves. After enough repetitions, they simply think of themselves as someone who walks. The identity has shifted to match the conditions, not through willpower, through design. The classical Japanese application of this principle was not called kaizen in ordinary life. It was expressed through the concept of MA, the deliberate design of space and interval, and through the cultural practice of setting up environments that made specific states of mind more likely. The tea ceremony is the clearest example. The tea room is designed with precision to produce a particular quality of attention You enter through a small door that requires you to bow. A physical act that changes posture and, with posture, mental state. The room is stripped of decoration, except for a single scroll and a single flower arrangement chosen for the season. There is nowhere for attention to go except to what is present. The ceremony does not ask you to be present. It removes the conditions under which being absent would be easy. This is not willpower. It is architecture. The Japanese home, in its traditional form, operates by the same logic. The alcove in the main room, the tokonoma, displays a single object that shifts with the season: a scroll, a ceramic piece, a branch of flowering plum. The room contains what it contains and nothing more. The design does not rely on the inhabitants' ongoing decision to maintain a certain quality of space. It builds that quality into the structure. The craftspeople of old Japan, the swordsmiths, the potters, the lacquer artists arranged their workshops by the same principle. Every tool had its place. Every material was stored where the hand would naturally reach. The workspace was not designed for inspiration. It was designed so that the first movement of the morning could be the first movement of the work, without searching, without preparation, without the friction that makes beginning feel like effort. The environment carried the intention. The person carried only the skill. The practical implication for behavior change is specific. Most people approach a habit they want to build by increasing motivation, by reading about why the habit matters, by making commitments to others, by tracking streaks on an app. These work temporarily when motivation is available. They fail the moment motivation fluctuates, which, because motivation fluctuates continuously, is inevitable. The kaizen approach asks a different question entirely. Not, how do I want to behave? But what conditions make the behavior I want the path of least resistance? For waking earlier, the alarm across the room, the clothes already set out, the coffee maker on a timer. Not willpower. Architecture? For reading more, the book on the kitchen table, the phone in another room, the 10 minutes after dinner already reserved in the calendar. Not discipline. Design. For the habit that keeps failing, not a renewed commitment to try harder, but a careful examination of the conditions that make the failure easy. Where is the friction point? What does the environment make simple? What does it make difficult? Adjust the environment. Watch the behavior follow. The kaizen practitioner does not ask for heroic effort. They ask for one small adjustment, honestly observed. If the adjustment helps, it stays. If it does not, it is revised. The practice is not the behavior itself. The practice is the ongoing refinement of the conditions that make the behavior likely. The deeper kaizen principle is patience with the process of small adjustment, one change at a time, one condition redesigned, observed, refined, not a complete overhaul of daily life, which requires a level of motivation that depletes quickly and rarely survives contact with reality. A single friction point removed, a single prompt added, the behavior observed honestly. This is how Toyota built a production system that the rest of the world spent decades trying to replicate. Not through a single brilliant redesign, but through 10,000 small adjustments, each made by the person closest to the work, each tested and refined before the next one was attempted. The accumulated result, over years, was a system so well designed that the behaviors it required had become, for the people within it, almost effortless. This is available at the scale of a single life, not immediately, not dramatically, but real. 3 months of small adjustments compounds into an environment so well suited to the person you are trying to become that the effort required to be that person has become, in most moments, indistinguishable from no effort at all. The gap between who you intend to be and who you are is not, as most people assume, a problem of character. It is a problem of conditions, and conditions, unlike character, can be changed one small adjustment at a time. That is the oldest meaning of kaizen, and it is, as it turns out, the most useful one. If that kind of practical, patient change is something you want, more of, follow for more.